ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. Y'all better listen up. This sports talking tough. So if you got a cup, go on and raise it up. I'll raise one with you as we talk about the sports. It's raining stats and rumors. Let us give you the report. This is First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of First and 12 Ounces. Hey, this week we're going to cover our top 10 going into this year. Should be a fun. These are our personal top 10s, what we think about it. We'll give you all a little insight on that. But before we get to that, let's talk. Hey, we got fall ball's about to start up. Texas starts up next week. I think Bama starts up Friday, Cole said. All the talks that's going around, camp starting back up. Hey, I'm hearing a lot of stuff about Michael Taft actually taking a lot of reps and looking at nickel a lot in the offseason, which will be crazy. Because if you think about it, if he's playing nickel, that puts every one of the top recruits that Texas has had at defensive back on the field at one time if he's playing nickel. You got Jalen McDonald, Derek Williams, Gilbo, Manny Muhammad, and Mookie all on the field at the same time. That's going to be scary already with the linebackers. Speaking of linebackers, Trey Moore, who was predominantly a defensive end last year, just got moved to standing linebacker. So he's going to be playing linebacker. That makes the linebacker room even more aggressive with Anthony Hill Jr., now Moore, and you have Colin Simmons on edge with Ethan Burke as well. It's going to be unbelievable. Other thing, Emmett Mosley, they said, him coming in from Stanford, he was a recruit that Sark went after hard before he tore his ACL, and then they kind of backed off. But now that he had an outstanding year and he was in the portal, Sark went out and got him. Said he's picking up the system fast and he's starting to shine with it. And then of course everyone's going to be talking about Arch and what he brings to the field because he brings so much to it. I mean, not to discount what he does with the ball in his hand when he's throwing it, but his athleticism is unbelievable where he makes every blade of grass possible for him because he can pull it and run it way better than Quinn did. And he's just, 2 starts, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's not too shabby. But we'll see how it goes going forward.
Yeah, no, look, in Tuscaloosa, practice starts tomorrow, actually. Not to correct you, but it does start tomorrow. Well, actually, the day of this airing, it'll be starting on Wednesday. The big talk in Tuscaloosa is obviously the quarterback spot. You lose Jalen Milroe. It seems to be Ty Simpson's job. Keelan Russell's a great player, so it's still a battle. We'll see. Look, Ty Simpson might come out and fall and just kind of suck. Who knows? Hopefully not. I think he's the guy. I think he should be the guy. Unless shows otherwise, obviously. A big thing for us is who's gonna be that edge rusher this year. LT Overton's kind of a bigger guy. He came in from A&M last year. Played well for us. Played more interior last year than probably he wanted to. Lost some weight, put on some muscle, and now he's kind of working that edge spot on one side. On the other side, you got kind of a two-way battle going on between Keon Keeley and Quil Rusall, who Quil Rusall played a lot last year. Keeley not quite as much. Both really good guys. Can get to the passer. Both been in the program now for 2 years. I think 1 year for Keon, but overall, look, Alabama's defense, I've kind of said it all offseason, should be a strong suit. We'll see how it plays out through camp, and obviously, once the season gets started. But besides that, no real new news for Bama. You got a right tackle position battle between Form B and actually a Lockwood, the freshman that came in, Ty Lockwood. So we'll see how that plays out too. Besides that, Dewberry looks pretty comfortable in that left guard spot. I don't think they're going to really have a battle there. If he sucks, obviously there will be, but besides that, the O-line's pretty much set, receiving room's pretty much set, tight end room's pretty much set, running back room's set. So we'll see how the QB spot plays out, and obviously, the edge rush spot, and then that right tackle spot. That's about it, man. We're excited let's get practice started. I know we're all excited for it.
Yeah, dude, football's back, right?
Dude, we're back.
We're back. I can sit here till I'm blue in the face and tell you about LSU's camp, but it feels like I would just be doing my best Brian Kelly impression, and we would just be talking and not seeing what's actually going on. I think the fun part is that football's back. I get nervous sometimes watching LSU camp since BK's been in town because I don't know if our offense is really good or our defense sucks. As of right now, when we're recording, there's been no official practice schedule release. Now, that could change while we're on camera. I mean, so by the time this comes out, that could be changed. So don't blow me up. That could happen.
Yeah.
I expect that at any minute now for somebody to announce that. But the talk right now for LSU is another year trying to figure out how to win game one. So let's hope camp figures it out. They brought in a ton of new faces. This LSU team reminds me a lot of last year's Ole Miss team. LSU kind of went all the chips in the middle of the table here. They spent a ton of money on the roster. You brought in a ton of SEC starting level players, right? Excited to see what camp looks like, what the reports are about how guys are meshing on defense, right? The defense has got to get better. That's kind of what we're pointing to right now is like, I trust Nussmeier. I trust the receiving room. The O-line's a question mark, but the O-line's been good now for multiple years in a row. So it's kind of like the receiving room. I don't feel like I need to know. I don't feel like I need to be proven that. Like, you got to disprove it to me at this point. The defense has to be proven, though. You bring in guys like Jack Pyburn, Patrick Payton, and Jakeem Jackson, Mansour Delane, and you just got to get improved, and right, and you won't really know that until they play Clemson, which that's kind of going to be the talk about LSU's camp is can they win game one. I got a feeling there's going to be a lot of talk nationally about that one. For some reason, it feels like this LSU Clemson game might get some more national talk than the Texas Ohio State game will. I think it's just because you got two of the best quarterbacks in the country that have returning starters playing in it. But there's already talk about who's the real Death Valley. Both sides are already chirping. Right? I think it's a stupid argument. I don't care what side you're on. I think I heard Liam Blutman today talk about he hates it. He's like, you know how many Wildcats there are? You know how many? I kind of agree. Right? Clemson did start it first. LSU's been better with it. So, but exciting times, right? Football's back. Exciting times. LSU, I'm excited about camp, but I don't want to see our receivers go crazy. But then I also do. I don't want to see our receivers suck because then what if our defense sucks and the offense sucks? So that's at this point, I'm just ready to watch a game against another team. I'm ready to play the Tigers, not the purple and gold ones, the orange and purple ones.
I feel you. I feel you. All right, let's get into this top 10. I'll give y'all my what did we say? 1 through 6
Yeah, no, we'll go 10-6.
or 10
You
through
give
6. I'm sorry.
I do, then Buddha does. We'll chat if we feel, and then we'll go 5 through 1. We'll do individually.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, so we're going piggyback 10, 10, 10, and then down.
No, 10 through 6, 10
Gotcha.
through 6, and
Gotcha.
And then we'll go 5, 5, 5, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Got it. All right, perfect. All right, coming in at 6 for me is SMU.
10 first.
Yeah,
That's what I said. 10.
We just went over the
Did
rules.
I not say 10? What did I say? 1?
We just went over rules and you fucked it up immediately.
What did I say?
You said 6.
Why did I say 6? 10. Coming in at 10 is SMU. I mean, they returned some standouts, and I mean, Kevin Jennings is my dark horse for the Heisman, so I think he has another big year in the ACC. Coming in at 9, kind of low, probably gonna be low on both of y'all's, but it's LSU. I think Nussmeier needs to have a big year without mistakes more than anything else. I'm interested to see that offensive line and that defensive line. I think it's kind of a make break season when it comes to the front lines. So those two will probably determine what kind of season LSU will have. Because I mean, we know Nuss can sling it, so we'll see if he can do it with time in the pocket. Number 8, I got coming in is Penn State. I think Drew Aller comes back. I mean, he was an O'Brien finalist last year. I think he'll back that up. And then he's got two of the most elite running backs in the nation behind him. So if anything happens, all he's got to do is exist for the 3 seconds it takes for him to get the ball to them. And that's about it. At number 7, I got Oregon. Their defense looks good. Dan Lanning is Mr. Portal himself. He tries to get any and everything he sees in the portal. In Eugene, Oregon, I mean, he's kind of not been missing lately. Number 6, another team that's probably sitting low than most people expected, is Ohio State. I got Ohio State. They're just lack of experience, quarterback room, losing key players on the defensive line and offensive line. It's gonna be hard for them to bounce back after a national championship year. But Booty, you can go ahead with your 10 through 6.
Yeah, so a couple of mine are going to be some projections involved in this. So my number 10, I have Utah. I think I think they've been so good for so consistent. Last year's the anomaly. They brought in Devin Dampier and his offensive coordinator. Typically, when you bring in those two, when you transfer quarterback and bring his OC, typically that makes the offense better. You know they're going to play good defense. I also think the Big 12 is 1 through 12. They're all equal. I think Utah's the best one in that group. I've got them at 10. 9, I've got Notre Dame. Right, I'm just going to put a little respect on them from my end. I don't know if they're even going to make y'all's top 10. Right, I know they're not making a ton of people. They're kind of in that back end if they are. I think they have the best running back in the country. Right, and then the schedule's always going to be somewhat favorable for them. They do play a couple tough games, but it is always going to be somewhat favorable. So I've got Notre Dame sitting there at 9. My 8th, I've got Oregon. Very similar reasons to you brought up. Right, the only reason I don't have them higher is they have a new quarterback. How many years in a row can you do this where you bring another quarterback in and it continues to work? I do think they're loaded. I do think the mentality in Eugene has changed. I don't think this is the Oregon Ducks with the LaMichael James of the world. I do think this is a different group. My only question is the quarterback. To me, it just feels like you can't keep hitting that many times in a row. But even with that, I still think they're a top 10 team in the country because they're loaded. My 7, right? I'm on 7, right? Make sure.
Yeah.
My 7, I have Alabama. Right, I've got Alabama here. I think they're going to be loaded on defense. I think you're going to see as close to a classic Alabama defense as you're probably going to see going forward. And that's kind of a country statement for me. That's not just straight Bama. I don't think the days of allowing 10 points is ever going to happen again. I think this Alabama defense is going to be one of DeBoer's best when it's all said and done. I think this year, I think the team's going to be loaded. They do have the question at quarterback. I don't think it's a question. I think Ty Simpson's a starter. But we have seen Ty Simpson play a little bit, and it hadn't been terrific. I don't think that means a whole lot because some teams are higher up on my list. You can make the same pushback. Again, I just think Alabama's going to be extremely talented. I've got them at 7. At 6, which is probably going to be lower than a lot of people think I would put them. I've got LSU at 6. I've got LSU at 6. I think you bring back, in my opinion, the best or the second best returning quarterback in the country. They went chips all in on the table. This is the best roster Brian Kelly's had since he's been in Baton Rouge. They're going to bet a score. I think the defense is going to get better. Blake Baker is a really good defensive coordinator. He drastically improved it year over year. I think they improve again with better personnel. I've got LSU sitting there at 6. And some of it is, I think if they don't finish in that 6 range, right? Regardless where they start, I think this is, to me, it's more of a finish. If they don't finish in that 6 range, I think there's going to be some conversations about BK no longer has a job. I mean, LSU's got an older roster also. That's another thing to think about. You know, Whit Weeks is going to be gone. Harold Perkins is going to be gone. Nussmeier is going to be gone. You start running through the list, and all of a sudden, a lot of really good players are not on that roster next year, including some of the guys they brought in. This is it for LSU. He went all in. I've got him at 6. So, go ahead, Cole.
All right. Number 10, which neither of y'all had, I'm kind of hurt by, is Arizona State. Look, I think they're in a fairly easy conference. A lot of my lists, I'll say things like that because, you know, I think at the end of the day, you have to look at who these teams are going to play, right? Arizona State, you got Sam Levitt coming back, obviously. You know, the dude was pretty good last year. Obviously, he had a rough game against Old Texas up there, but you know, besides that, I mean, he played pretty well. You know, their coach, I can't remember his name. I'm trying to think of what we're talking, but super passionate coach, player coach. You know, he kind of brings a lot of things to the table that I would want to play for personally. So I got them at 10. Number 9, LSU. You know, probably could have them a little higher. A lot of these I went back and forth on. My thing is I need to see Nuss prove it in the tough road games. You know, and against the tough defenses. You know, against Alabama, I know that was a little bit of a rainy night. But, I mean, he didn't look good most of the game. He looked really good on the last drive of the game when it didn't matter. But besides that, he didn't look good. We saw him at A&M get rattled pretty early. I guess not super early, but, you know, midway through the game got rattled. And then against Florida also, you know, you saw him kind of struggle. But then you see him against Ole Miss, and he's just perfect almost. So that's kind of why I have them where I have them. At 8, I have Oregon. Literally same things that Buddha just said is that I don't know how often you can keep getting these new quarterbacks in and keep being as good. Granted, I have them at 8, so it's not like I have them at like 20. But I mean, look, we'll see. Dan Lanning's a great coach. He knows what he's doing over there. We'll kind of see how that plays out for them. 7, I have Alabama. I'm not going to sit here and talk all day about Alabama. I mean, obviously, we know the quarterback situation. I think I agree with everything you said about Bama's defense. I think it's going to be one of the best in the country, if not the best in the country. Kane Womack has a really good system that he implemented last year, and it's going to be just as good, if not better, this year with better talent in some spots. It all comes down to Ty Simpson, I think, for Alabama. Play calling will be new because we'll have Ryan Grubb at the helm, but I got Bama at 7. At 6, I have Georgia. I know a lot of people are a little higher on Georgia. I don't know that I can trust Gunnar Stockton if I'm Georgia. I'm not saying he's going to shit the bed. I'm just saying that from what I saw, it wasn't great, right? And I know it was kind of a tough situation. He kind of got thrown in there when Beck got hurt. But look, we'll see how that plays out for him. Kirby's going to have a good defense on the field. You can bet your life on that. But I think Georgia takes a little step back this year. And you know what? I think we'll find out pretty early with them what their year's going to look like. So I got Georgia at 6.
All right. I'll give y'all my 5, which was higher than this team's higher than both of y'all had them on there. I got Bama at 5. I think their defense is going to play lights out. You got to think they got returning players like Ryan Williams. That key kid's going to be a playmaker no matter who the quarterback is. I do think it's going to be a quarterback competition all year, though. I think you're going to see a lot of mix. You're going to see Russell get play time in certain games. You're going to see Ty Simpson get play time. I think it's when it comes down to it's going to come down to those two, and it's going to be a quarterback battle all year. I think the board's going to get to where it's like when a quarterback makes a mistake, I think he might get a little influenced by the fans and the media. Hey, why is this guy starting over this guy? You got this guy here, and I think it kind of affects him. I think it's a quarterback competition all year. But again, like we said, that defense is outstanding. You got Ryan Williams, Lawson's going to be a monster, Jackson at DB. Hey, and this is the board's first full recruiting class.
Mm-hmm.
There was ranked number 4 in the nation, so I think they're coming in with some power. So that's where I got Bama at 5.
Me?
Yeah.
I've got Georgia at 5. Or I'll just cut straight to it. I've got Georgia at 5. Last year, I thought they had a down year, which is crazy to say because they made the playoff, but it didn't feel like what they have been for the last 5 or 6 years. I still think the team's going to be loaded. I do think Kirby's a really good coach. He might be the best in the country. He's definitely top 5 to me. I've got Georgia sitting there at 5. Again, but I also somewhat agree with Cole. I do think I can easily see them taking a step back. This is more of just, you got to show it to me. You got to prove to me that you're going to take the step back before I go out on the limb and do it, right? I did it for years with Saban and Bama, where I would go, this is the year they fall back to, they drop, and then they just never did. I thought, and Kirby still managed his way where if he doesn't lose his starting quarterback, he might be playing for a national title last year, right? I do know this. They came out publicly and talked about when Gunnar Stockton came in that the boys played harder, right? I do have questions on Gunnar Stockton. I just think their roster is going to be loaded. I've got him at 5.
All right. I have Ohio State at 5. Look, their big games are Penn State and then Michigan. I don't think really anybody knows what Michigan will look like this year. So I could see them easily going 11-1, if not 10-2. Jeremiah Smith coming in year 2. Obviously, everyone knows what he brings to the table. We talk about him a lot, but at the end of the day, he is a very reliable wide receiver 1. I mean, that's just the way it is. The kid's a freak whenever he's on, and that just kind of speaks for itself. Their defense, is going to be good. Caleb Downs, who I'm a big hater on, but he's a great safety. I mean, he is. Whether he's the best in the nation or second, third, or fourth best, he's still great. Obviously they got a few replacements on that defense, but overall, they're going to have a good defense. Julian Sagan, who actually transferred from Bama to there, he's going to be a gunslinger, dude. I mean, look, they lost Will Howard to the draft, but I think Sagan's going to go in there. I think he's going to run around a lot. I think he's going to throw on the run really well, which is one of the things he did in high school extremely well. And I know sometimes high school doesn't translate exactly, but sometimes you can just see a kid running and throwing the ball, and you're like, this is what he's going to do his whole career, So I got Ohio State at 5, man.
I got you. I got Coming in at 4, Georgia. I mean, they've been around forever. I think they're not going anywhere. I think Kirby kind of reloads as best as he can. I think they're in it again. I think they're one of the SEC playoff teams when it comes down to the end of it. The big question is Gunnar Stockton. Another big question that kind of stood out to me is they didn't even go after a quarterback out of the portal. Like they just said, "Hey, this is our guy." So that shows you that they got confident with him. The team's confident with him. They do need to fill some spots at wide receiver and DB because they did lose some, but we'll see. That defense is always hungry. They are always impressive whenever you see them on the field, unless they're playing Alabama and they get torched like they did last year. But hey, we'll see how it comes out. I got them sitting at 4 for me.
4 for me, I've got Texas. Simply on the fact that I think their upside is so high. I think their upside is the best team in the country with Texas. But they do replace a lot more than I think is being talked about sometimes publicly in the media. I think it's getting a little bit hand waved. Texas are replacing a lot. Now, I think Sark has got incredible roster building. I think they're replacing dudes with dudes. But I've got them sitting at 4, which again, I mean, tough spot to be as a program when somebody's sitting here going, you're replacing a lot, and I got you in the top 4, right? Like Arch is going to be, I think Arch is going to be a stud. Arch is a first-year starter in the league. I think his learning curve is going to be a lot quicker than most guys, and I think his lowlights are a lot higher than a lot of dudes' lowlights, right? But ultimately, when you look at their O-line, they got to replace a lot. On defense, they're replacing some. You're replacing your best receivers, your best tight end. You got a first-year starting quarterback. Again, I've got him at 4. I think put him any higher, in my opinion, would have been an upside pick for me. Would have been me betting that it all works out. I got him at 4. And again, though, if they end up 1, that doesn't shock me. I think it's one of the best rosters in the country. I want to see it on the field before I would put him in my top 3.
Okay. At 4, I have Penn State. A lot of the same things that y'all said earlier about them. Aller coming back, obviously. Look, I don't think Drew Aller's anything incredible, but I think if he can go out and not lose them games, I think they'll be just fine. They have incredible running backs coming back, as Pete said earlier. James Franklin just never can quite get over that hump. We've seen it for like fucking 7 years in a row now. Maybe this is year, maybe it's not. I do know they get to play Oregon at home, and they play at Ohio State. Besides that, the schedule on paper they should get through it. Shouldn't be anything really crazy there. I think it was what I said. Drew Aller, like 35% of his passes last year went to Tyler Warren. That's a pretty big number to come back from. But again, I think if he can just protect the football, I think they'll be right there with everybody. So I got them at 4.
Got you. Coming in at 3 for me is our buddy here is not here, and it's his team. It's the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Something that me and Buddha got on last year, and the reason we weren't so high on them was because of their offensive line. They had so many freshmen coming back.
Yeah.
That's why I think they're going to be so good. They have so much depth at offensive line and defensive line. I think they're gonna push people around. And let's face it, their schedule is going to make it easier for them to push people around as well. Quarterback position is a question mark, but they got the best running back in the nation. I think Jeremiah Love is without a doubt the best running back in the nation. They're returning linebackers that were monsters for them last year. Their DBs and safety play was outstanding last year. That's why I got them sitting at 3. I think Marcus Freeman's doing the things right at Notre Dame, and I think that road continues with them at 3.
Yeah, my number 3, I got Ohio State. Right? I know they got the new quarterback coming in. I still think their roster is loaded. I personally think they have the 2 best players in the sport. I think if you were making a top, I think they got 2 guys that you can argue the top 2 players in the sport, Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs. Right? I think when you have that kind of talent on the roster, Sayan is probably going to be the starter. Sayan's a good player, right? Like he's not a scrub. I think Ohio State. I'm giving them. I got them ranked at 3. They've been a perennial top 5 team for so long now. I think their roster is again loaded. And I think when you got the 2 best players in the sport, in my opinion, you're a top 3 team. So I've got them ranked 3rd.
Well, I have Notre Dame at 3 as well, Pete. A lot of the same reasons. Jeremiah Love, I think. I think I had him in my top 5 for the Heisman. Actually, I think he's going to be a freak. I think he's really good. I think he's only going to be better. I think if he stays healthy, that the sky's the limit. Yes, that team has a very favorable schedule. I know we get fired up when you're talking about schedules, but I mean, there's no way arguing that schedule isn't favorable. They play A&M, and I think they play them at Notre Dame this year. Besides that game, I mean, they got to play Northern Illinois again, which they lost to last year, but I don't think that'll be a problem for them. Look, I was a Marcus Freeman guy when he first went there. I liked him. I thought he was a very energetic coach. Obviously, that was 3-4 years ago now, and I think now you're finally seeing the results from it. Which I think that's a whole other topic of sticking with a coach. You gotta give coaches a chance sometimes. One thing I didn't realize is they've got like three. No, I'm sorry, never mind. That's not them. But yeah, no. So I mean, look, I think Notre Dame's gonna be great. I think they're gonna pound the ball. I know the quarterback situation is very questionable, but I think they're gonna run the ball a lot. And like you said, the O-line last year kind of showed a lot of people what they're about, and I think they'll do probably the same thing this year. So
yeah, absolutely. Also, let it be noted, and I forgot, Marcus Freeman is Buddha's man crush.
Good look. Yeah, good looking.
Buddha hasn't been ashamed to say it since we started the podcast. He's like, that's the best looking head coach there is. I was like, wow, okay,
absolutely coach of the country.
All right, going to my number 2 is the Clemson Tigers. I think they come in with arguably the best quarterback in the nation in Cade Klubnik. If he has a barring injury or something crazy, Cade Klubnik will go down as one of the most accomplished quarterbacks at Clemson. That's a lot to say because Clemson's had some great quarterback play. They got Williams coming back at wide receiver. I think they're going to start off strong in game 1 versus LSU. I think that's going to be the big test. That's going to be the eye test that sticks out to me more than anything else. That's where we're going to learn about LSU's defensive line and their secondary, and we're going to learn about Clemson as if does Cade live up to the hype? Can he throw essentially like Cade threw all? I mean, like Nuss threw all last year when he was lighting it up. I mean, that's who set that number 2 for me. I think Cade Klubnik is like the unsung hero of Clemson, and everyone's just going to be like, "Oh man, Dabo's done it again." So that's who's setting that 2 for me.
My number 2 is the same. I got Clemson. I think Klubnik's really good. I think he's a top 3 quarterback in the country, top 2. I've got him at 1 or 2 depending on the day. I think he's in a perfect situation. That team's loaded. His best 3 receivers are all young dudes. They're all back. They bring back all 5 starting offensive linemen from last year. Their defense is loaded. They've got 2 or 3 defensive linemen that are going to be first-round draft picks. They're good at every level. It's a perfect situation. Their schedule is it's an ACC schedule, right? They get LSU game 1, which history would tell you that would benefit Clemson. And then after that, it kind of lightens up. And I also think that they're just going to be one of the best teams in the country. Again, I think it's just I think it's their roster is set up to be really good this year.
yeah, I do not have Clemson at 2. I have Texas. Which spoiler, guess who haven't won, right? Yeah, look, I mean, Texas loaded roster. I mean, there's no reason to think they won't be good again. Arch is obviously the thought on every college football fan's mind right now is like, what will Arch do? I think I've said it before. If he lives up to half the hype, I think Texas has a damn good year. I think Texas gets their get back on Georgia, and I don't think there's another team on that schedule that really can beat Texas. That's just me. Besides Ohio State week 1, but obviously, you can lose that game and still make your conference championship pretty easily.
Yeah.
I think the running game will be really good. I'm a Trey Wisner guy. I watched him a few times last year. I think he's really good. I've argued with people that I don't even know that Trey Wisner's good because I just think he's a good football player, and that's just kind of what it is. I think the running game will be good again, and which I think will help Arch. And also, obviously, we've talked about their defense coming back, Taff and all those other guys that y'all got coming back. No reason to think they won't be good. So I have Texas at number 2.
All right, surprise, surprise. My number 1, the Texas Longhorns. And it starts. I think it starts, but it doesn't finish with the main man that is Arch Manning. He is coming in. A lot of things that he brings to the table is dangerous. Like I touched on him earlier, he can, every blade of grass on the field is pretty much his to take over, whether it be with his feet or his arm. Kid's just phenomenal with the football in his hand. His football IQ is off the charts too, and you got to think this is his 3rd year going in under Sark's offense. No one's going to know this offense better than him right now. And then, I mean, defensive wise, holy cow. Like stacked everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. You got Colin Simmons, Ethan Burt, Trey Moore, Michael Taft, Manny Muhammad. Like this defense is going to be arguably probably one of the best defenses in Texas football history. I think they fill every spot that they need to fill. And then, like you were talking about running back wise, you got Trey Wisner, who lit it up last year, who was going into the season running back number, I think, third or fourth on the depth chart, but injuries moved him up, and look what he did with the ball. Behind him, you got C.J. Baxter coming back. You got Clark coming back. So, hey, does does Arch have some tough games? I'm pretty sure he does, but I think this defense puts him in situations that helps him overcome any mistakes that he can make because this defense is loaded absolutely everywhere. So that's my number one, Texas Longhorns.
Just to touch on that too, because I actually meant to say this in my take about Texas. I think one thing we're not even mentioning is Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would agree.
There's a head coach and a play caller that I want on the sidelines with a new quarterback with all this hype. It's Steve Sarkisian. He's going to get him confidence throws early in the season. Whenever he knows he needs one, he's going to get him something easy. I think Sarkisian is one of the best play callers in the country, if not the best. So I think that's also something to remember when we're talking about Texas being 1 or 2 in the nation preseason.
My number one team shouldn't come as any surprise. I made a claim on here a couple weeks back. My number one team, and it's similar to my reasoning for Clemson, is Penn State. I think that roster is the best roster Franklin's had. I understand he hasn't won the big one. A lot of guys haven't won the big one until they win the big one. I've got him as the number one team. I hear Cole's take on that 30-something% of the completions went to Tyler Warren. They completely addressed it in the portal. It's the best wide receiving group they've had that I can remember. They went and get the kid from USC who was a stud. They went and get the kid, I want to say from Syracuse, right? What's the USC kid's name? Kyra Hudson. That team's loaded. They got really good running backs. I think they get over the hump. I think it works out perfect for them in the Big Ten. Ohio State's bringing back, got a new quarterback they're introducing. Ryan Day, can you live back up to it? Michigan, I think, is going to be good, but I don't think they're ready yet. I don't think Nebraska and Matt Rule are ready to take a step yet. I think Penn State has set this thing up perfectly. I think they're the best team in the country. And I think it's like Clemson. I think they're set up so perfectly. I think it's the perfect situation. And I think Drew Aller's a really good player. Drew Aller had some low moments last year, but I thought he played his best game in the Big Ten Championship. Like that's one of the best games he played, and that's was against a really good team. I think Drew Aller has a big year this year. The only concern I would have with Penn State is James Franklin. But again, like I said, I think every coach can't win the big one until they win the big one. I think they get over the hump this year. I got Penn State at 1.
All right. At 1, I have Clemson. No surprise there. It's the only one I haven't said, right? A lot of things y'all said. Their 2 biggest games are South Carolina and LSU, neither of which matter at all for them making the playoff.
Yeah, exactly.
Both of those, if you run the table, guess what? You're in your conference championship. If you lose one of your other games, guess what? You're 9-3. You're in the conference championship. Still have a chance for a playoff. Klubnik, I think, is going to be really good. I agree with everything Pete said. I think he can go down as one of the best Clemson quarterbacks ever. As far as accomplishments, obviously. I don't think there's any reason to think that they're not going to be good. I think Dabo is another example of just continuity at head coach. I mean, I know Dabo gets a lot of hate, and I'm one of the people who hates on him sometimes. He's weird, he's corny, but like at the end of the day, I mean, look, he had a run from 2015 to 2018 of I think 3 playoff appearances, with 1 national title. He's a fairly established coach at this point. One thing I thought was interesting about Clemson is that they have on their offensive line they have 3 fifth-year seniors and a 4th-year senior. I mean, that's 4 pretty mature young men right there. And the guy who's not a senior is a junior. So
yeah, totally.
Look, I think they're gonna have a really good offensive line. I think Klubnik's the guy. I think he's gonna be really good. I wouldn't be shocked if he wins the Heisman. I wouldn't be shocked if we're sitting here at the CFP selection show saying, "Oh yeah, there's Clemson at number 1." So yeah, I mean, I have Clemson at number 1. They can't win a natty because Bama's going to, but they are my preseason. So.
Oh, hey, something I did want to touch on because I did see it before we got on. I forgot to when we started. Lagway being injured already, and camp hasn't started. Might be something to keep an eye on out. I mean, they say that it's a lower extremity injury. No one's kind of really heard anything. I've heard, oh, yes, it's his ankle, it's his hamstring or something like that. But I mean, you don't want to hear
Yeah.
that already.
Yeah, I heard it's a hammy, man, and that look. I mean, I'm a big Lagway believer. I think he's gonna be really good, and I've said it. He's got to be healthy to be good. So yeah, I mean, if I'm a Florida fan, I'm pretty pissed about that because I'm like, who allowed this to happen when we're not even in practice yet? You know,
And hamstrings are scary, dude, because hamstrings don't really fix themselves. Once you pull one bad, you kind of always the rest of your career are a hamstring guy. It always can flare back up. It's like, hey, once you do it, it's there. Now he may play 10 more years and it doesn't flare up, but it's always the thought that it may, right? So yeah, that's nuts. I'm not as high on Lagway as a lot of people. I think he's really good. It is
I'm the same way. I think he's got potential to be great.
yes,
He hasn't really haven't really seen it yet to me.
that's exactly right.
And then the injury thing, like this just goes on to show, like, hey, I mean, if you're hurt already, we just wait till the season starts, and it's gonna be scary situation.
Yeah, I mean, I am one of the people who are high on Lagway. I mean, for all the reasons that I've already said. I mean, he's fast. He can throw the ball on the run. He can throw very accurately on the run. But he has to be healthy. I mean, if we were doing our top 5 Heisman picks next week after knowing about this injury, probably wouldn't have him in that top 5 because, like, he's already hurt now. What's the year going to look like, you know?
Yeah,
Absolutely. What would be, I thought of this with Florida because a lot of people would probably have Florida, or some people would have Florida in this mix. Of what team do you think is the biggest sleeper? And then after that, we can follow it with what team do you think is probably getting overhyped? So for me, I can tell you my biggest sleeper team is Michigan, right? I think Michigan was good. I mean, they couldn't throw the ball. They played football. They only played half the game of football on offense last year, and they still beat some really good teams down the stretch. And Bryce Underwood's legit. They're going to better throw the ball more than they did last year. And last year they figured it out towards the back end. I wouldn't be stunned if come December we're sitting here looking at Michigan sitting at like that 10-7 range, and they're a playoff team. And then I'll let y'all go with that, and then I'll get into my overhyped team.
So a sleeper for me is somebody that I picked early on in the year. I think I picked them week 1 to upset their first game of the year, and they went out and did it, and then they were dangerous all year. And that's Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech returns just as many players as they had last year when they were elite. You got to think, what's the little quarterback's name?
Hayes
Yeah, this dude he's good. He proved it last year. If he can stay healthy all this year, they're going to be a team that you're looking at the end of the year going, holy shit. And you can't forget, Georgia Tech almost beat Georgia this past year. They played them down to the wire.
They should. Their offensive coordinator shit down his leg. They just didn't let Hayes King. They should have just said, Hayes, you go win the thing. Go win, and didn't allow him to do it.
Exactly. So I think that's my sleeper for sure. I think Georgia Tech has a big year and surprise a lot of. I think maybe not a big. I think they beat some teams that they're not supposed to. I think they get wins and you're like, whoa, okay, here we go.
I like the pick because again they're in the ACC, so it's not going to be that challenging to get into the conference championship game. And then it's a 1-game set with probably Clemson to see what you can do.
Yeah. My sleeper is gonna be SMU actually, which I know Pete had at 10s. I don't know if that's a true sleeper.
I think so.
Same reasons he said. I mean, look, they were in the dance last year. I think they kind of lost a lot of their mojo going into it, I guess you could say, because of how their conference championship game played out. But look, I think SMU is pretty good. I think they have a really fast-paced offense that a lot of people can't keep up with. So I mean, if I had to pick a sleeper, it'd probably be them.
I like that pick. And they got, their quarterback's going to be talented. They got a ton of money in the program, so like they don't have scrubs on the field. Like they can play. I like that pick a lot. I'll go with my most overhyped team. Maybe not most overhyped, just a team that I think is getting too much love. And it's South Carolina. I'm watching South Carolina in real time turn into Texas A&M, where it feels like this is going to become an every offseason conversation of, oh, look out for South Carolina. And again, I think Sellers has I think he's got a chance to be like Cam Newton. Here's the problem. Who's around him? Right? Like, I get on defense they have Dylan Stewart. Dylan Stewart wasn't their best player last year on defense. It was Kennard. He ain't there. Who's he throwing it to? I don't care about the guy. What's his name? Nick Harbor that runs like lightning. Doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything to me. He's not an elite receiver. He's an elite speed guy. And then again, Beamer ball, it's really fun. But it was fun when South Carolina was like Georgia Tech, when they weren't supposed to beat people and then they would sneak up and bite somebody. Now it's like, hey, this dude's not terrific. He loses a lot of fucking games he shouldn't lose. It feels like his ceiling is always going to be 9 wins. I think this year they're 7-5. Again, I feel like I'm watching Texas A&M be reincarnated.
Yeah. And honestly, that was going to be my pick before you picked them, so I'll pick somebody differently. But the exact reasons you said. I think the thing about Lenore Sellers that we differ on is you said he could be Cam Newton. I don't think he could throw the ball. I didn't see it all last year. And like you said, he's got an elite weapon at wide receiver, but he didn't get him the ball last year when it could have benefited him more. So I don't think that's going to change. I think he's going to struggle to get the ball downfield. He's going to be a threat with his legs, but I think that's going to be about it. I think my not really most overhyped, but the one that's getting a lot of love and scratching my head of kind of like, oh, why? Well, the reason why is because their quarterback. I think it's Florida. Lagway is good, but when he's hurt, Florida's not a good football team whatsoever on any aspect of the ball. You got to remember this: Billy Napier was about to get fired. They were thinking middle of the year, and then Lagway took over, and it all changed. If Lagway's healthy, yeah, maybe that's something good for you. But that's all you have on offense. If Lagway goes down again, you're back in the same position you were last year. You got to win some games that you can't. You're not seen to win. Like they got to come out hard and play. Billy Napier was going to get fired if Lagway doesn't come in and have to do it.
Absolutely.
Numbers he put up. I don't think that changes. I think without Lagway, Billy Napier's on the hot seat once again. So I think they're getting way too much hype for what. And I understand they have a monster schedule. It didn't change coming this year. It's still a monster schedule. I just don't think. I think they're getting too much of the hype.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like the South Carolina pick by Boot. I mean, I think they're pretty overhyped. I was high on Lenore Sellers prematurely, in the off season, but after kind of diving into it, you kind of realize like, well, he really wasn't that great. Could he be? Maybe, I don't know. If I'm picking somebody who's overhyped, I mean, it's kind of shitty on my part, but I'd say Ohio State, man. Like, I get all they have coming back, but I think so many people are just putting them at 1 because they're like, it's Ohio State. They've been so good for, the last few years. I just don't see it. I have them and Georgia both taking a significant step back this year. So, I mean, look, again, I have them at 5 in my list, so I'm one of the ones overhyping them, but it's because you kind of feel like you have to overhype them. You kind of feel like you have to have them up there. So, I mean, I guess I'd say Ohio State would be my overhyped team just off top.
I think it's a fair pick. Now, we got to address this, though. So the notorious most overhyped team in the history of college football is in College Station. And it's Texas. And every fucking year, we do the same fucking thing. And again, you start listening to people go, who's a team in the SEC that could surprise you? Oh, I could see A&M here and be 10-2 and win. No, they won't. Texas A&M will go 8-4 again. That's what they do. That's what they are as a program. They're like Ole Miss right now. That's what they are. They're never going to win anything significant. They're going to have good moments. They're going to upset some teams, right? Like people, and yeah, I don't care that their roster is loaded. It can't be that fucking loaded. They don't fucking win games, right? And look, I don't think every coach they bring is a bad coach. I don't think Elko's a bad coach. Jimbo won a national championship previously before going there. He got there. He got everybody who shows up. It's like, I'm sick and tired of every fucking July. It's like, don't look out for A&M. Look, they could take the step this year. Dude, they've been on the verge of the step for 30 years.
Ever since Slocum left, it's been, this guy's going to get us there. We're right here. We're a step away. And like you said, they'll beat teams that they're not supposed to. And then all the hype, like when they beat LSU last year, everyone was like, here they come. Nope. And then what happened the next week? They lost to South Carolina.
Yeah. And 8-4. 8-4. That's what they do. And I don't know why we look at it any differently. Like the team that gets treated a little bit like A&M should, Tennessee gets a little bit of it from the media where they're like, they're just Tennessee. Tennessee actually gets to things. They got to the playoffs. Like Tennessee actually gets to places. A&M doesn't get anywhere except the fucking Citrus Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, they don't win, and they haven't forever. It was pre-World War II before they won their last title. Like, this ain't like they were good 30 years ago. They've been mediocre for my life, your life, your dad's life, and your grandpa's life.
Yeah.
And look,
Absolutely.
another just shitbox program that's getting just ridiculous, unnecessary hype. And they're probably not getting the hype of any of the teams we've mentioned right now, but Auburn. Auburn goes out, they watch Jackson Arnold, run a little bit against Bama, beat Bama, and they're like, oh my God, let's go two-hand him so he'll come over here. Under the table, two-hand him, throw him a few $100,000, and there he is in Auburn. So now a team that went 5-7 last year, maybe 6-6, 5-7 didn't get a bowl game. Went 5-7 last year, people are talking about like, oh, they're a dark horse in the SEC. No, they're fucking not.
Yeah.
Just another team that for no reason people are going around saying like, oh, don't sleep on Auburn. Like, actually, let's do this. Let's all sleep on Auburn because they're fucking horrible. They were horrible last year. They're going to be horrible this year. Jackson Arnold's not good. You can say what you want. He didn't win that game for Oklahoma. Bama lost that game because they sucked. Period. No way around it. Absolute debacle by Bama. Jackson Arnold did not go out and win that football game. I don't care what anybody says.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
so over this hype train for Auburn. But
No.
again, it's not the same type of hype that we're talking about, but still.
Yeah. Okay, before we get out of here, I want to throw one more at y'all that I just thought of. Name one player coming to this year that you're excited to watch. Can't be a part of your team. Has to be a completely different team, not your team, but you're excited that's under the radar. So not one of the big names. Like, you can't. I'll tell you who mine is. Cole's not gonna like it because I picked him in our online dynasty too. But it's Pavia. I want to see if the hype of Pavia is real. I want to see if he can still do it again the following year after he has a breakout year. Because let's face it, we have athletes like this that come onto the scene that pop and blow up, and they're unbelievable. And then other teams learn how to beat them, and then you don't see it again. Happens all the time. I'm interested to see if Pavia does it. I'm interested to see if he comes in and he's still as good as he was last year.
No, I mean, I think you're going to be disappointed, but I mean, look, fuck it. It's your opinion. I think he's a scumbag. That's just me. I don't have any reason to think that. He did nothing to me, but that's just what I feel. For me, it's kind of a cop-out because I kind of have him to win the Heisman. Jeremiah Love, dude. I'm excited to see this dude. I want to see that jump. I want to see if I just run people over. I want to see him run for like 2,000 yards or something ridiculous. Will it happen? Who knows? But I mean, if I had to pick somebody who I'm really excited to see that's not a Bama player, it'd be him. I mean, that there's really no way around that for me. So that's mine.
So the guy that comes to my mind first, but he's not my pick. I want to see how he plays is Bryce Underwood. Obviously, there's some ties to LSU with that. I'm just curious. But you mentioned the phrase, who's a guy kind of under the radar that you're excited? It's Darian Mensah for me. Ex-Tulane quarterback. He's at Duke now. Was really good at Tulane. Now he's in a Power 4 conference. I want to see what he can do there. I want to see if he's a legit player or not. I want to see if it translates or if he was just a splash in the pan at a small school. So Darian Mensah is a guy I kind of got circled that I plan on watching some games that he's playing in that I may have normally not clicked on.
I got it. Y'all got anything else before we get out of here, fellas?
Real quick.
Prime. Shout out Prime.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Shout out Prime and everything that's going on there. But hey, we all said it. We all thought he was retiring. We thought he was going to leave Colorado since his sons were gone. But hey, wholeheartedly, the man was fighting cancer and beat it. So hey,
shout out.
Great things to hear, and I hope he has immense success.
Yes, agree with all of that. Real quick, Auburn's recruiting class is currently ranked 55th in the nation. Fucking dumpster fire. It has been 2,068 days since the University of Auburn has beat the University of Alabama in college football. With that, Pete, do your thing.
All right, guys. We'll catch y'all next week. As always, y'all have a good one. Hook 'em.
Roll Tide.
First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. Y'all better listen up. This sports talking tough. So if you got a cup, go on and raise it up. I'll raise one with you as we talk about the sports. It's raining stats and rumors. Let us give you the report. This is First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. First 12 ounces.